Traffic fatalities recorded in the U.S. are caused by an intoxicated driver. When you get on the road, do yourself, family, and your community a favor. Remember the 3 C's of safety: caution, courtesy, and common sense. If your hand has been on a bottle, keep your foot off the throttle. This reminder is courtesy of Edge Manufacturing, serving our area with pride and integrity, specializing in truck roll-off, welding, steering, and suspensions. Call today for all your trucking problems at 909-653-5716. That's 909-653-5716. That's Edge Manufacturing, on the air because they care.
This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen here on the case for truth and justice with the right information to help improve the situation. Empire Talks Back is brought to you by the Improve Association, promoting business and community partnerships, and brought to you by WSSnews.com for West Side Story Newspaper's website, where you can catch daily news every day. That's what daily news is, isn't it, folks? Ask the question. Seek the truth, think critically, improve. Folks, we're here to increase our quality of life while respecting each other and the planet we share. Empire Talks Back podcasts are available on iHeart and every platform that promotes good podcast. Today, as every Sunday, this is the Think Factory. Folks, your mind is your highway to salvation. Your mind is your fence that prevents the pollution of the world from taking over your lane, taking you over. And you've got to think. It's not easy. We're surrounded by obstacles that want to take us off of our route onto their route. Not that their route necessarily is better or even worse, but it's not necessarily your route. You've got a mission. You've got a compact with God to be who you are and the best that you can be at being who you are. Now, we're in a situation and a place that doesn't necessarily allow you to benefit from your your exposures, your strengths, unless you decide to let that happen. This is the Think Factory. The thought of the day: once you catch a person in a lie, issuing malicious information, misinformation, once you catch a person in a lie, shouldn't you start to wonder how many lies you've missed them in? Once you catch a person in a lie, shouldn't you start to wonder how many lies you've missed them in? Trust is harder to build than credit, as it should be. We're going to talk about trust. We're going to talk about survival. We're going to talk about one thing that's definitely true. A sense of humor will help you get from here to there. Despite the fences of evil, the fences of despair, the BS that's not really even good manure or good fertilizer. They throw it at you, and if you decide to let it sit on your plate, that's up to you. But we would like for you to think beyond that, because we know what you can do when you decide to do it. Thought for the day: once you catch a person in a lie, shouldn't you start to wonder how many lies you've missed them in? Trust is harder to build than credit, as it should be. Today's guest, we have Mr. Mac Rome. I call him the intellectual comedian of the Inland Empire. He is a thinker, as well as a talker, as well as a performer. He's a writer, an actor, and he's going to join me today as we discuss his platform and discuss a couple of things that are here to make him think and respond, as well as to make you think and respond. And if you want to call in with your thoughts, you'll be able to do that. You can call us here at 909-792-5222. Today's subject, young man, did you get that email? Jill Scott, the wonderful singer, actress. Jill Scott has, as many others have, determined that she has caught America in a lie. Let me say it again. Jill Scott, as many others have, has determined that she has caught America in a lie. Unlike most who might agree with her, Jill Scott is an iconic performer that claims a world stage. That stage includes that of the annual Essence Festival held in New Orleans during the extended 4th of July weekend. Jill closed her July 1st performance singing lyrics that she wrote as a teen. Lyrics sang to the same tune as the national anthem. I'd like to kick that off to you right now and let you hear it, because we're going to talk about that performance, and we're going to talk about some reactions that people have had to the performance. If you could put that up for me, Frank, I'd appreciate it.
Can you see by the blood in the streets that this place doesn't smile on you, colored child, whose blood built this land with sweat
Are you able to hear those
on
lyrics?
their hands. But you'll die in this place, and your memory erased. Oh, say, does this truth hold any weight? This is not the land of the free, but the home of the slave.
That's Miss Jill Scott. Miss Jill Scott performance at the Essence Festival. I don't know, maybe you got caught up in the wonderful voice and didn't get to hear the lyric. Let me go through some of it for you. Oh, say, can you see by the blood in the streets? This place doesn't smile on your colored child, and will die in this place and your memory erased. This is not the land of the free, but the home of the slave. Jill Scott's got a beautiful voice. Those were lyrics that she put together as a teenager. Many say, well, why'd she wait so long to let us hear it? I don't know. Is it appropriate? It was on the 4th of July. It's kind of disrespectful. I don't know. Slavery's not that respectful. It's not that respectful to break a family up. It's not that respectful to have entire race of people in command of another race of people simply because of the color of their skin. That's pretty rude. The idea of the lyric, place doesn't smile on your colored child. Well, we have enough bad experiences from those people who are in authority, the police, our judges, our Congress people, our Supreme Court, that holds African Americans, black people in low esteem, if there's any esteem held at all. Oh, no, now don't get me wrong. There are many people who succeed. Jill Scott has been, as a result of this piece, saying, you pointed out that, Jill Scott's worth $12 million. How could she possibly be oppressed? My response to that is Jill Scott is not singing about Jill Scott. She's singing about those people who are not Jill Scott. There are some of us who are able to be concerned about someone other than ourselves. And I think Jill's song represents someone caring for someone other than themselves. So that's a controversial piece. That's a controversial attitude, simply, I think, because America wants to forget slavery. America wants to forget discrimination. America wants to forget that we have children that we love that are melanin-based children, non-white children. But we also represent the one race on the planet that has everybody in it. And if you don't believe it, come to the family reunion. Huh? Our family reunion got white people and blue people. Our family reunion has blonde, blue-eyed people and very, very blue people with blonde eyes. There's something funny about every issue. There's something that can bring a smile about every issue. I dare say that every picture we see of a so-called deprived community, there's children laughing and playing. That's the hope of the future. That's what we need to be paying attention to, our children, because they will lead us in the right direction. We're blessed here today. We have Mr. Mac Rome.
Hello, everybody.
Mac, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, sir?
God is great. I'm extremely grateful. You have a pretty young lady there to your right. I understand that's Miss Lou's granddaughter.
This is correct. This is young Kalela.
Kalela, how are you doing this morning?
Good.
Very good. You're doing well, and as soon as you start helping the rest of the world, then you'll be doing good. I think this morning you're going to do some good because you're going to inspire a lot of people simply because of the fact you are here. You remind us of what we're supposed to do. One of the things you remind us of is when I looked at you this morning, I said the first thing, somebody took a lot of time sitting with you, brushing and combing your hair, and talking to you about a lot of things that may not seem important now, but they'll be very important as you grow older. So, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
You are excellent. Are we going to take that break now? Yeah, we'll take that break and we'll come right back and get into some conversation with Mac.
Publish your legal notice in West Side Story newspaper. For the best service and the best rates, call 909-384-8131. Publishing legal notices in the city and county of San Bernardino since 1990. West Side Story provides friendly expert service. Call 909-384-8131 to benefit from budget-friendly rates. Whether a fictitious business name, a name change, a divorce summons, or any other legal or public notice, call West Side Story newspaper 909-384-8131. 909-384-8131. That's 909-384-8131.
All right, we're back. This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen. Once again, my guest this morning is the writer, actor, comedian, Mr. Mac Rome, and Lou's granddaughter, Kulela. And how old are you, Kulela?
7.
7. Ooh, I remember. No, I don't. I wish I could, but I don't remember that far back. But I do have grandchildren that help me remind me of how wonderful it is to be your age, but more importantly, how wonderful it is to have been your age and know what we can do to help us as we get further into our age. Because at one point, though we're raising you now, you're going to be raising us. You're going to be talking to and taking care of Grandma Lou and Mama and Daddy and cousins, and maybe even end up helping me out. So I want you to be as strong as you can and pay attention in school and teach those teachers and other students as much as you can do, all right?
All right.
Very good. Mac.
Yes.
Miss Jill Scott. She sang, she's an artist. She is, what did you think when you hear those lyrics?
Well, I like to say that the things that she's singing about happen first. I think what happens in our society today when somebody says something that we call quote unquote controversial, or some people call controversial, it's just a reaction or an expression of a feeling about something that's already taken place. What Jill Scott is singing about, people are saying, oh, that was disrespectful for her to sing it on the 4th of July. But let's take a look at the things that have happened this week during the 4th of July week, or the week prior to the 4th of July. Oklahoma court came out and dismissed the survivors of Black Wall Street. They had a lawsuit. These people are over 100 years old.
105 and 102, something like that.
And basically, the Oklahoma court decided that we're going to throw the case out. Almost as if these people didn't live through what they lived through. Almost as if Black Wall Street didn't happen. But it did. Yet, they threw that lawsuit out. And I think like the Supreme Court just did they just threw out affirmative action in the admission of students. Okay, so you guys didn't get to hear me there too well. But anyway, the Supreme Court has acted, the courts in Oklahoma have acted, and what these courts are doing really, in all honesty, is they're denying Black Americans humanity. Mm-hmm. And so that is what she's singing about. You see, if America wanted to offer everyone an equal chance at humanity, well, we wouldn't have a Supreme Court that recognizes legacy admissions, but then denies affirmative action admissions. I don't like to get into American history too much further than when America was actually a country, because a lot of people will say, well, that was England, and we were an English colony, and we don't have to speak about that, and we don't have to take responsibility for slavery prior to America becoming a country. So let's just start in 1776 when America was a country until 1865.
Just before then, when Crispus Attucks was the first blood
during
to
the
die.
Boston Revolution.
Well, and the first to die in the so-called American Revolution.
Yes.
And Crispus Attucks, to my surprise, I guess I was 14 or 15.
Boston Tea Party,
when I found out that he was a black man.
Yes.
Okay. Now they'll say he was in the bar and he was drunk, and that's what happened. Well, whatever he was, he decided to leave the bar and go to deal with the issue, and he was the first one killed, kind of like black folks in the movies.
Right. But even that story isn't really taught in history.
No.
And again, here you have a black man who was one of the first people to die in the skirmishes that led up to the American Revolutionary War, and you don't hear about him.
The first person, period. Not the first among the first person, period.
And so I think what really Jill Scott is doing is she's singing about the denial of Black Americans' humanity. In each of these issues that you take apart and you get down to the bottom of it, what it is they don't want to treat Black Americans like humans. You have Japanese Americans who went through They were put in the concentration camps during World War II. Do you know that these people received reparations?
$20,000 per.
If you
Not
say
that that's enough money ever.
no, but if you say reparations today, right now they have a conversation going on about it, saying that black people have actually lost $1.2 million in wealth due to segregation and slavery and stuff. They're saying we lost, each one of us individually, 1.2 million's worth of net worth. They're not saying that that's what's owed to us as reparations, but as soon as the word reparations comes up, oh no, you guys were never involved in slavery. You guys were never slaves, and we never held slaves ourselves. So why should we pay you for something that we were never involved with?
Yeah, and that same line of thinking doesn't go along with the stolen wealth. The fact that your great-great-grandfather stole something doesn't all of a sudden make you decide to give it back.
No.
Okay, so you want to be able to hang on to the benefits of slavery and white supremacy, but at the same time, you don't want us to charge for the liabilities of racism.
So you have something there called accumulated wealth. If in the 89 years from 1776 to 1865, the United States of America made it legal for its white American citizens to rob, rape, kill, and steal the your inheritance from your black American citizens, you have an 89-year wealth gap that's being built. You have an 89-year head start for white Americans. And then you put on top of that 100 years of segregation. And within that time period, you also have the Homestead Act, where you're giving away thousands of acres of land to your white American citizens.
Black folks were not allowed to participate in
correct.
okay.
And
So all of you great cowboy fans, I used to be one of those watch the cowboy movies.
Out in the West.
You know, and you see this Homestead Act, and you know, even in the movies, this was the one time when they actually told the truth. When they showed all of those people at the starting line and taking off to go claim the land, and they didn't have any black folk, that was true. Most of the other times when they show scenes where heroism was taking place or wars were fought or buildings were being built and they didn't show black people, that was a lie because black people were there doing the work. But they told the truth when they said Homestead Act and they showed the pictures. They showed everybody.
But black people.
And we didn't rehearse that. That just was the way we said it. But black people. Now, getting over to something here with the reparations, man, I think maybe if we were to start to maybe do DNA and actually test people who appear to be white,
we'll find out that they have quite a few ancestors who were actually American slaves.
Probably some of those people that are eligible for reparations.
Yes.
You know, now if those people were able to be brought out of the out of the darkness of or the lightness of the lack of darkness, maybe there'd be more people wanting to allow or present reparations as a real thing to black folk.
That brings up a very, I think it's humorous.
That's what I
because this is why.
We need your humor.
let's say that somehow, some way, a miracle happens and reparations are granted and given. Well, don't you know if that comes from the taxpayers' money, that also means that the black taxpayers have to pay for reparations also, and you are aware that we were not involved with slavery as far as owning and participating in slaves in a great number. There were a few. But if you really think about it, like some people say, hey, I don't want to have to pay for slavery because I didn't participate in slavery. It's coming out of my tax dollars. Well, guess what? Black people are paying taxes too. We're going to have to pay for it twice. If you think about it that way.
Right, that's right. No, and that's the issue. That's why it's really due. Because just like there are people who appear to be white walking around that we know have black ancestors, there's people who appear to be black walking around that had slave-owning white ancestors.
Yes.
So maybe it's proper that everybody's taxes are subject to reparations.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me because we are a blended group of people. We are definitely blended in every way. And the way that we as a blackish, brownish, whitish, Asianish looking family, go look at your family reunion. When you look at your family reunion, you got the Asian looking brother, you got the Native American looking brother, you got the African looking brother from the Congo, the African looking brother from North Africa. We have the whole world at our family reunion. That to me says we are a root, and yes, reparations should be paid, not just because it's owed, but because it shows respect for humanity.
And there we go. We've just got
It's
back
not
into
civil rights, it's human rights.
humanity, and there are a certain type of people. I'm not going to call anyone by name because I can just describe behavior. There's a certain group of people who are anti-black, they're anti-Jewish, they're anti-LGBTQ, and basically they've been consistent for the last 2 centuries. It's the same group that Andrew Jackson had that was rowdy and low class voters and stuff. That's the same thing we see with Trump. And I did call his name out, but that's the same thing. If you look back in history, Trump has the same exact characteristics and he has the same political following that Andrew Jackson did. They call that Jacksonian democracy. But I want to get back to the humanity part because I think that's what Jill Scott was talking about. Because when you get back to when you boil down any situation, and you just did it to us in live time, it boils down to humanity. It boils down to treating every single one of us like humans. The dignity and respect that is owed to human beings, it has to be extended to everyone, especially in the country of America, because we are the world's melting pot. And if we don't treat each other equally, we're going to fall apart as a nation.
And as a nation, if America falls apart, the world falls apart. We have not just become the leaders symbolically, we are the leaders in true economic sense. We are the leaders in the sense of how cultures merge together and develop and work together. Our system has the potential of being as great as our imagination would see it.
That's correct.
As great as my imagination suggested it was as I've grown up, and I must say I've become more cynical, just as my father.
Yes, because over time you see things. I'm 53 years old myself, and I've seen when I was born in the 70s, racism in America was actually a lot worse than it's been from I say the 1990s until 2015. Now we're on a downward trend. It's starting to get real bad again. But I want
it's not from Fred across the street. It's the re-emphasis of our institutions.
Yes.
Of pushing this white supremacy attitude.
Yes.
And they make it seem like we are at war with every white person and black person. As we see, we should be giving each other the evil eye. I'm not seeing that to be the case, but I am seeing some evil eyes taking place here.
And some evil words.
Yes.
Like I said, when you want to, you have to respect everybody's dignity as a human. But when you start calling people names outside of the human name, I'm talking about when you see a presidential candidate get up there and call everybody radical Marxist or Antifa or just names that I don't know anybody who's part of Antifa. I don't know anybody who's a snowflake. I know human beings with political opinions and they want to practice their right to vote. But what I see is a lot of people are when you dehumanize people, when you call them outside of their name, instead of just calling them my fellow American or my countryman who disagrees with me, my countryman who's in a different political party. When you start calling them different names like Antifa and names that nobody really knows what it is, you're dehumanizing them. Just like the N-word used to dehumanize black people. But they're not just coming for black people this time. They're coming for LGBTQ. They're coming for Jewish people. They're coming from people, anybody who basically disagrees with their political opinion is going to be dehumanized. And then they've got these people out here willing to commit acts of violence. They're willing to go into your church. They're willing to come into your parades. And they're willing to kill you because they no longer think that you're human. This is how serious it is. I'm a comedian, and I usually walk around and I'm telling jokes and everything, but sometimes you have to get serious about things, and we're headed into some really tough times. I seen a presidential candidate on television today say, F Joe Biden and F you if you voted for him. What kind of American political discourse is that?
And and if you are a political party depending on people to vote for you, why would you move in a direction that reduces people's ability to vote? Why, if you are in a country that is based on the vote and your ability to express yourself and get a position of control based on the vote, why would you let someone reduce people's ability to vote? I understand you want the power, but the power that throws us off balance enough to make the engine work erratically and maybe make the steering wheel drive us off the cliff. I mean, we've got a senator now who refuses to allow nominations of our military upper echelon to take place.
His name is Tommy Tuberville. He used to be a football coach, and now he's a U.S. senator, and he's doing something that is just insane. I'm a former military veteran myself. I'm a Desert Storm War veteran from the United States Navy, and let me tell you, it may not seem like he's doing anything if you've never been in the military. But if you were in the military and you got new orders to move your family, and Tommy Tuberville, the football coach, is holding those orders up, well, guess what? Your whole family is in limbo right now, and they're going to stay in limbo for the next year or two. He's been doing this for a year now.
And what about the leadership vacuum he creates at the level
at the top of the leadership?
At the top of leadership, yes.
And
now, to me, he can say he's politically trying to make his point. I say he's an insurrectionist. I say that he is a person that should be put off the Senate. When you obviously are going against the flow of America. Now, but then again, I also think that the former president is so slick that he does so much on top of the table that he is actually, or could be, a Russian spy. Why would I say that? Because he has said so, in essence, and he never denied it. Russia and Putin, those are his boys. The idea that he would have all of his secret paperwork on the desk and just show it to innocent reporters and dumb people who don't. Why is he showing me that? Because you are the cover for the real enemy that he showed it to. In his beautiful palace in Florida, he says everybody come through. We've had people that have been accused of spying come through.
Yeah.
And now we know why they were there. But everybody's pretending that, well, all he did was show it to a few reporters and maybe, listen, the man is money hungry, always been money hungry. Done caught him in a lie and don't expect to find the truth. I've caught him in enough lies to say that he is a liar. Enough lies that we could say he's kind of out of control with it. Well, and you could be kind by saying, well, maybe he's just sick. Maybe he's got a little virus in his brain. I don't know. But once an elephant is standing on your foot, you don't really care why. You just want him to get off your foot. And now, I haven't talked a lot about that guy, but because I know there's people, when you're a good con man, you con enough people that they'll protect you.
Yes.
We've had experience with cults before. That the idea that you're gonna talk bad about my hero, I'm sorry to talk bad about your hero because it does reflect on your choices. But if you got a booger in your nose, I know you want me to tell you.
Yeah.
And he's a booger in your nose.
And Trump is He was known prior to becoming
My
president
nose.
to being favorable towards Putin, the Russian president, who should be embarrassed right now because he's doing a horrible job in that war that he was supposed
I
to
don't want him to
win
get too
in a
embarrassed
couple
because he
of
can.
weeks.
I don't want him to get too
You know.
embarrassed because he's got nuclear weapons.
Yeah, and then Donald Trump is saying this guy is all great, and look at the horrible war that he started and the horrible results. He's not winning the war. He's damaging his country. He almost lost his country last week when a member of the Wagner Group, the leader of the Wagner Group, almost took over Russia himself. But that was always known about Trump, is that he favored Putin. But what I would like people to look at it in a different way. We all noticed that Putin had plans to go into Ukraine before he went to Ukraine. They planned it. It takes a couple of years to plan a war. I was in the military, I know. At least a year. So he knew this when Donald Trump was the president. And of course, he knew what he wanted to do before Donald Trump became the president. What we all know and what he also knew was that Hillary Clinton wasn't going to play that. Barack Obama wasn't playing that. These people are war hawks against Russia. Donald Trump was not. He was not a war hawk against Russia before he came into office.
He was a businessman who wanted to do
business with Russia. And then he came into office and he was easy on Russia. Okay, so you have to realize it from the Russian point of view. Hey, we love this guy Trump. We hate Clinton and we hate Obama.
I respect Trump enough to believe that he would not fold so easily for Putin, were it not for either the fact that he's got a big stake in Putin,
Yes.
or Putin's got a big stake that he can drive into
Both.
Okay,
Both.
so with that, it's just a trust element, and I
Well, they trust each other, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, okay, we think that war is something that just happens violently, number one, and outside of our borders. But when you have violent wars going on outside of your borders, and you're a superpower like America, well, those countries that are involved in a war, they're trying to influence your elections. They're trying to influence your leaders to gain some type of advantage in their violent physical war. And that's what Russia is doing to America, because they want to perform a violent war on Ukraine and take that place over. So they can't do it if the American president, like Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton, is opposed to what they're doing. If they've got a president who's kind of neutral, he's really kind of cool with them. He wants to do some business in Russia. He's looking for Russia to give him some dirt on his political opponents. Guess what? That's their guy, and they're going to try their best to get him in office. So that really brings their war into our political system. And I don't think people in America realize that. You think that this is just American money putting Donald Trump up and the Democrats up, and it's not.
we've been America so long, and have weathered so many storms that people basically have a right to think that everything's going to be okay, and everything is going to be okay despite the fact that I am going to cause a big lump in the potato salad here. I'm going to do something real crazy, but everything's going to be all right.
I'm going to suspend the Constitution.
Suspend the Constitution for a couple of weeks. We'll be okay.
We're going to defund the FBI.
Defund the FBI. Now, you guys got ticked off when I said defund the police, but now you want to defund the FBI.
And hold on, brother, I want to ask you about this, because the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover, he made his bones. He made his reputation doing what to black people in the black civil rights community?
I have a cousin, Millie McGee, who wrote a book about J. Edgar Hoover and claimed him as her black cousin. And what annoyed me, or annoys me about that, is that Millie is my cousin. And so she's bringing this guy into the realm of my family.
I asked the right dude the right question, didn't I?
I definitely am not a fan.
Right.
But I do believe that the reason that this guy, J. Edgar Hoover, was so hard on black folk is because he was black. And he was so into not having any babies, which may point out to be black, that I don't know if he was a homosexual or gay in the first place, but he certainly was in the second and third place.
Yes.
That's not the problem. The problem is, why and what he did in his
to black people. And just for people who don't know, J. Edgar Hoover made his reputation and the FBI. First, he went after Marcus Garvey. The first FBI informant in FBI history was Marcus Garvey, second in command. After he got finished messing up Marcus Garvey's reputation, they brought him up on some crazy charges that were just minuscule charges.
fraud.
Yeah.
They said he was fraudulent.
Wire fraud.
Wire fraud. Yeah, because he
For
was,
advertising going back to Africa.
and he had his boats all set to go, but they were sabotaged.
They were sabotaging him, and then they charged him up on some trumped up charges. And then
Trumped up charges.
And then they did that to Martin Luther King. We all know that the FBI had tapes of Martin Luther King having extramarital affairs. We also know that they were involved with spying on Malcolm X. So when the FBI has always been weaponized against the black community in America, what they are saying right now is, oh, we defund the FBI because they're actually looking at white people in America
to try to do their job.
and these white people are trying to. And let me say it like this: back when the FBI was harassing black people, there were black people who wanted to go back to Africa. There were black people who wanted to violently take over the American government. That was real. There were black people who wanted to do that, but that never happened. The FBI also messed with innocent people. What I'm saying here is these people that they're messing with now, Donald Trump, the January 6 rioters, you people aren't innocent. Those documents that they have in your house, that's evidence. This is not, we're not talking about innocent people and the FBI being weaponized on a fish hunt. We're talking about following evidence. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, you're absolutely right. And the thing about, I couldn't help but once I brought J. Edgar's name up is to think about the Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas.
Oh, goodness.
And I can't read that.
We have a call. We have a
Hold
call.
on. Okay, thank you. Lou forgot I'm blind. She held a note up written on white paper with white ink, I think. I don't know. But anyway, we have a caller. Let's respect that part. Who do we have on the line?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
It's Davita. How's it going?
Fine. Right. It's going slow, but you can speed it up.
Ah, I
How are
was
you
definitely
doing, Davita?
enjoying the conversation. Also, good info. I'm glad you guys do, speak on that. But I was actually calling to get more information on the comedy show that's coming up.
Okay.
All right.
That's great.
Yeah, we definitely want to talk about Mac's upcoming show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, check this out. In the Inland Empire, we're trying to bring some A-class comedians that you see on Showtime, HBO, Comic View, BET. So this Sunday in Colton, California, the address is 125 East O Street. The name of the place is Jeans. We're going to be having Shang Forbes, Shang, from HBO, Showtime, Netflix. He's going to be right here in the IE in Colton at Jeans. The name of the place is called Jeans, where there's always smoke. The address is 125 East O Street. Now check this out. I got Shang to come down here, and I'm only charging $10 for entry fee. So you're never going to beat that. You're never going to find that anywhere else. $10 to come see Shang. And not only is Shang going to be in the show, but ladies and gentlemen, JT Turner is going to be in the show. And a lot of you guys down here in Southern California know exactly who JT Turner is. He's one of the hottest comedians in Southern California besides myself, Shang. And one more comedian we have on the show is Cooley, comedian Cooley. He's going to be there. He's a real good friend of mine. He's been doing comedy for over 10 years. We met when I first started doing comedy, and he's a very, very talented and funny comedian. This is all going down this Sunday, coming up, 7 days from today. 125 East O Street, Colton, California. We're going to start this show. The doors open at 7. We're going to start the show at 8. And I'm tell you what, we got some comedians that are going to come in early, and we're going to let them start doing comedy around 7:15, 7:20. So you're going to get some extra comedians if you show up early enough. Doors open at 7, and we got some comedians that are going to come on about 7:15, 7:20. 125 East O Street, Colton, California, at Jeans, where there's smoke. We're going to be having comedian Shang, JT Turner. comedian Cooley. Our special guest that night is going to be comedian Kevin Davis, the Marine of Comedy. I'm going to be your host. We're going to have What About a Taco food vendor is going to be there, and they have some really good tacos. And we're going to have a great night, ladies and gentlemen. Our sponsors there are Uncle Nearest. They're going to be there handing out samples of Uncle Nearest whiskey. And if you know about Uncle Nearest, he was the man. He was the black man who gave Jack Daniels his whiskey recipe.
Or from whom Jack Daniels got his whiskey recipe.
Okay, I can't understand anything you're saying, Lou, because you're whispering and making hand signals.
Yeah, go on and talk out loud, Lou.
Thank you. Since you tried to blast me, I'll shout out to production.
Okay, we're going to give a shout out to Lou Productions. And also, we have our grandbaby in the house. Gonna give her a shout out.
Kalela.
Thank you.
Say hi to Davita.
Hi, I'm
Hey, hey,
Into the
Niecy.
microphone.
I see you. You looking real professional up there with your pawpaw.
Thank
Oh yeah,
you.
she'll be running. She's going to host the show next week. We got it.
Indeed, she looking real
Uh,
professional, ready.
One thing, the comedians that begin at 7:15, will we be allowed to laugh at those guys, or do we have to hold the laugh until the show starts?
Oh, no.
I mean, you know,
Some of these guys, I think one guy is going to make you want to throw rocks at him. You might not want to laugh, but it's going to be a good show. Yeah, you can come down and the laughter starts shortly as soon as the comedians get on stage.
that's the show.
And we're going to it's going to be a really good time. It's an outdoor show. I need to make that clear. So it's going to be about 100 degrees that day. You're going to want to get out the house, save some on your electricity bill, turn that AC off.
What time's the show start?
Starts at 8 o'clock, but the doors open at 7. So you can get out there. It doesn't even get
That's
dark
7
until
o'clock in the
8:39.
evening. You said in the evening.
7:30 in the
Okay,
evening.
so the heat will be reduced at that point.
That's correct.
You know, we'll be in the cool of the evening.
Yeah, it'll
Very
still
good.
be hot, though.
Okay. It should be hot because of what's going on the stage there.
That's
But
correct.
I've got faith in Southern California. We'll be all right after 6 or 7 o'clock.
So y'all come on out. Don't forget, 125 East O Street. The name of the place is Jeans, where there's always smoke. We're going to have Shang Forbes. Shang Forbes, JT Turner, comedian Cooley, Kevin Davis, the Marina Comedy, and I'm going to be your host, Mac Rome.
Can we get to the website and get that information just
Yes,
as well?
you can. You can look it up on Facebook under Tyrone Thompson. You can look it on Instagram under Mac Rome, and there's links and everything to the tickets there, too.
Okay, we do want to get back real quick to our conversation regarding slavery. Are you a slave? Jill Scott thinks that America is.
Well,
You know,
here's another question. If they make abortion illegal in your state, right? And then, so you have to have a baby. And then, and let's say, we all know that babies are expensive. So let's say that you need to get on food stamps to help take care of the baby that they forced you to have. Hold on just a second, because there's a work requirement for food stamps. Isn't that a form of slavery? If we make you have a baby and then we make you get a job to get food stamps to help you take care of that baby?
Okay, make you get a job, first of all. There got to be a job. You can't just, I need a job, and then you got a job. If you do, that means you started a business. So this idea of y'all got to have the baby
That's
would
great.
suggest that we are compassionate enough to take care of that child from birth to death. That's what it suggests. But no, it says, anyway, a woman, it's her body.
Right.
I'm not going to say you should or you shouldn't. I'm going to say that when I see the child, I know that part of my responsibility to take care of it, whether I'm the daddy or not.
Well,
So-
what's the definition of slavery? Isn't it when somebody is telling you what to do with your body that you don't want to do?
Well, we can get it compared to what becomes the issue. So if in America we've got this imbalance of access to resources, we've got these billionaires who are able to spend enough money to buy a $250,000 seat to go underwater to go visit the Titanic, and those people, when they have their fatal accident, all of the attention in the world is placed on them, where hours previous, over 750 people died trying to get to freedom, trying to get to the thing that America brags about providing. And we just ignored that. I think that our sense of compassion has got to become large enough to accept everybody. When I say that, I look at how we've got a group of people that say we don't want migrants in here. And sometimes it's even the same farmers who are benefiting from having migrants come in and go to work.
I was about to say, you have a bunch of descendants of migrants saying that they don't want migrants in here.
Migrants are people who came on purpose.
Right, and
so we're not talking about...
I'm not talking about black people. I'm talking about you, because and mostly you don't hear a lot of black people talking about we don't want migrants here. You hear descendants of European migrants saying we don't want South American migrants here.
Yes.
That's what's going on.
And so that seems to be an extension of this concept of white supremacy. Once again, folks, at one point, every continent on that we call now the 7 continents was all one big hunk. And we talk about the difference in people, and we say, well, how did Africans populate the world? Well, we were all in the same place at one time. And if you move to a place where you don't have any sunshine, you have to live in a cave, your pigment's going to go away. Your melanin's going to go away. The idea that we are the same people is real. We can DNA it all the way back to Susie. We have a...
And the stereotypes are not real. The stereotypes about history are not real. The stereotypes about intelligence, human intelligence, those aren't real, because, we have people here today who will say that black people are the least intelligent race, but you still cannot explain how black Africans built the pyramids.
And you can't determine how the black tribe discovered planets that we are still trying to figure out. How did they figure that out? How did they find that out?
That would be the Dogon tribe, and the star is Sirius X.
That's right. So America, the world, could be a much better place when we really accept the fact that humans are human and we need to treat them such. So I don't know. I do know this. We have to keep trying. We have to not ignore the lies. We have to pursue the truth, and we have to extend it when we find it. As we do that, we probably will have a much more success if we're able to figure out how to smile as we do it. Humor is critical. Mac Rome, you are a hardcore thinker. I appreciate that, but you're also an interpreter and translator to talk to people in a way that makes us kind of get along a little bit better. That laughter is important, but hearing the facts and laughing at the facts, there's a talent to that, and I appreciate that you've got it, and I encourage people to come out and see you next Sunday so they can share that aspect of your gift.
And I appreciate it. I just want to say, you brought up the submarine, right?
Yes.
The submersible submarine that went down. When a submarine implodes, it's the exact opposite of an explosion. It means everything condenses and becomes very, very tiny. And there's a writing in the Bible when it
30
says
seconds.
A camel has a better chance to fit through the eye of a needle than a rich man has a chance to get into heaven. I think them people went down in that submarine and imploded just so they can get into heaven.
Or maybe they didn't know they were going to get in heaven, but that would be a comforting thought to those who say, wow, man, they were too rich to get to heaven. No, that implosion. Good thinking, man.
They got a chance.
Good thinking, man. Because
hey, 125 East O Street next Sunday, Colton, California. Shane Forbes Comedy Show. Macron's going to be hosting.
All
7
right,
p.m.
I hope you've enjoyed the Think Factory. We are here to make you think about it. You may agree, you may disagree, but think about it. God bless you. Thank you for being with us.
Kalela, say bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Kalela.